will see if it is live. Okay, we are now live, and good morning to all the members of Philippine Home-based Virtual Assistants community. As promised, I have told you that we're going to invite someone and do an interview with the lovely Christy Smith, of course, from Outsourcing. She's one of our partners in our upcoming expo, which is now moved to March 21st due to the situation that we have right now because of the NCOV. So just to make sure that everybody's safe, for our own safety and everybody's safety, we decided to move the expo on March 21st instead. So that, just to make sure we don't know what's going to happen. So I just followed through what the DOH, Department of Health, has mentioned, or they have sent out an announcement that we have to postpone every events that we have. So with that being said, I'm just announcing that it will be on March 21st. So now I want to introduce to you one of the partners that we have, not just for the expo alone, but they will be a partner with us for a long period of time because that's what I promised them. And this is very close to my heart because I believe you've already read the story that I have recently sent out, my beginnings of how I started my career as a VA. And this is for real. And I'm so thankful and grateful that she accommodated my invitation for her to do this interview. Ladies and gentlemen, with no further ado, I would like to introduce to you Miss Christy Smith of Virtual Elves. Good morning, Christy.
Hello, Tiny. Thank you so much. I would do this for you anytime. You know that.
Oh my goodness. I'm so flattered about that. Thank you so much for having or for saying yes to this. As part of you being a part of our partners for the expo, like what I said, it's not just for
Mm,
the event per se, but it's a long term that we are also trying to have with all the agencies such as yours.
yeah.
So today we have questions for Christy, and if you have questions, guys, please post it here. If I cannot read anything right now because we're using StreamYard, as you all know, I will try my very best to answer that during the time that I have my free time to answer. But anyways, we will try our very best to answer it. Let me just hook up into my Facebook so I can see it from my mobile. Normally, that's how easy it is. Tiny, hold on, guys. I know you are already watching. Yeah, there are people watching right now. So thank you. Okay. I will be having questions for Christy, and if you do have some questions for her, feel free to comment below in our comment box. And then if we can still answer it, we will do our best. But if
Mm.
not, I will try my very best to answer it on behalf of Christy Smith. But if she wants to answer it through the comment box section after the interview, that will be
Yeah.
great. All right, Christy, here it goes. The first
Here we
question
go.
that yeah, the first question. If you see that we're kind of close with each other, I've been working with her since 2014. That's why the
Yeah.
relationship is like this. So,
Yeah.
why do you think, Christy, that experienced professionals like me when I started are switching to become a VA or a virtual assistant?
Yeah, look, I think it's a very simple reason, really, is because it's so much more accessible now, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you've got the option to have flexible working environments. You know, I remember when I started this business 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just remember at that time having a conversation with a few, VAs that I'd found on what was then Odesk at the time,
Yes. Yes.
you know, and they were really struggling. They were struggling because they were working for big, corporations that had offices that they had to travel into, and sometimes it would take an hour and a half each way or 2 hours each way just to get to the office if the weather was good, right? And
Yeah.
you know, I remember one girl was telling me, and you know, she said she's got finance qualifications and she works as a teller in the bank, and it was taking her 3 hours each way to travel. She didn't get to see her kids in the morning or in the evening. They were looked after by a nanny, and she had to buy her lunch every day that she went into the city, and she had no money left for anything else because, you know, and she was being paid something like the equivalent of 50 cents an hour
Oh
Australian.
my.
And it really hit home for me. And I just thought, there's so many qualified people out there that could potentially set themselves up from home to have that flexibility, to be with their children, to not miss those really critical times, to be able to feel empowered to even build their own business, right? Because that's what working from home really is. You're responsible. It's your own business. You're responsible for the amount of money that comes in, the clients that you have, how you retain those clients. All of that is your responsibility. So it's quite attractive if you've got, the drive and the desire to have that.
Exactly. I know what you're saying because I also experienced it myself. That is so
Mm.
real. You're working, you're asked for how long, and then at the
Mm.
end of the day, you're coming home without much of a money in your pocket. And
Yeah.
even your kids, they're growing up. You can't bring back time. Had I
Yeah.
known that there's an opportunity like this before, I could have started earlier on. But then
Yeah.
again,
But I think 10 years ago, it wasn't so big. I think
yeah,
America and the UK certainly had tapped into the Philippine home, not the home-based market. They tapped
the
into the Philippine
outsourcing.
outsourcing market, right?
Yes,
But that was big, BPO offices that,
yes.
were not paying very much, $1 an hour sort of pay. And it was a different system then. And I think now that Australia has come on board, are really starting to value, Australia is actually a lot more relaxed in the way that they
Yeah.
do business. Business owners are a lot more relaxed. A lot of us work from home. We've started small businesses from home. Our expectations around what the environment of our virtual workers are very different to maybe what the American perception was 10 years ago. So I think now, the market has really opened up for home-based virtual workers to actually get in and really capitalize on making sure that they've got the resources available to them to make that work.
And certainly that's correct. And it gives the opportunity for us, professional or non-professional, to have this opportunity to work from home and
Yeah.
be able to learn more things. I really learned a lot when I started to work as a VA. Not
Mm.
those things that I'm doing right now. It's not something that I never had an idea that it's not something
Yeah.
that I'm used to doing. So
Mm.
thank you for that great opportunity, and thank you for opening the platforms for us Filipinos as well. A
Yeah.
lot of people are aiming to become a VA, but then again, there are things that we still have to consider. So jumping on and moving on to the next question is, how
Mm.
do you evaluate candidates who are applying to your agency, to Virtual
Mm.
Elves?
So we've got a fairly detailed process. So I have a team of 2 to 3 virtual assistants. So you were part of that team, until recently. And I
I
think,
know.
yeah, and now I have to pave way for you to actually be great in your own steps, right? So,
Thank you.
which is fabulous. But we have 2 girls at the moment, and they are our recruitment and human resources team. So Tina, for example, and she will be there at the day on the 21st of March, 21st of March, 20.
Yeah, 21st of
Yeah, I keep
March. Yeah.
forgetting the date. Yeah, 21st of March. So she'll be there. But essentially, the way that we recruit is we receive candidates. They send their CV through to us. We then put them through some process of evaluation, looking at their CVs to see whether they have, the previous work skills,
Yeah.
the previous, experience. We tend not to take anybody on board that has never had any experience working from home, which is a shame, I understand. However, there's things that they can do that we'll talk about later to boost them up to that stage. I think the biggest thing that we do is we give them some testing. So that's really important to us for our clients. It's a step above what you would find if you went out to find a freelancer on your own, for example. So as an
Yeah.
agency, we would put you through an English written exam, a typing test, a behavioural
Personality test.
personality test that, it could be Tony Robbins. I
Yeah.
think we send a free link through to that. Emotional intelligence testing as well. That's very important. Our clients love to see that side of it because that's totally different to the behavioral, testing, very different.
Certainly.
Um, we also just have a look at the references just to see who the references are. The biggest thing that I kind of tend to look at that I find very important is their work history. So if I'm looking at somebody's work history and they've got 20 past experiences, but they've only ever stayed in a job for a month or 2 months or
Yeah.
3 months, that's a bit of a red flag for me. That says that they're not very
Job
long-term or
hoppers.
stable. That's it. So I'm looking for people that have stayed with a client for at least 2 years, 1 to 2 years, and there's stability there.
Residency.
Correct. Their skills actually are not the most important thing for me when I'm looking at candidates to bring, potentially on, because we don't necessarily do all the screening based on a role that we've got in mind. We do the screening based on the type of candidate we want to bring into our company. So we may not have a job available right at that time, yet if we've got a candidate that we think really fits the mold of the values of Virtual Elves, then we'll actually then go to the next stage of doing the interview. And Tina does the interview by Skype message. So it's basically asking questions through Skype message. And then we go to the point of Cherry actually talking to the VA on Skype, video. That's it. So important,
Yes.
I want to be able, I used to do them 5 years ago and now the girls have taken over, right? So I used to love hopping on video because it allows me to build that personal connection with the VA, to see what their environment is. That's super important. We wouldn't know what environment they're working in until we see.
Yes,
okay, so look at your environment, right? You've got a really plain back wall. It's non-obtrusive. My environment, I've got a clean space that's quiet, that, yes, there could be dogs barking every now and then. Yes, there could be chickens. I know whenever I'm talking to Cherry, there's chickens in the background. However, with her, the beauty is she's not talking to my clients, on the phone. So if we're looking at a VA who actually is going to be talking to our clients on the phone, I want to know that there's no distractions and background noise and, people walking past in the video, that sort of thing.
Certainly, and that's one of the when I did this thing when I was working as part of the HR, I was also doing this evaluation to see how they take this seriously, because some people, some candidates, they think like when you do the interview, it's just an interview. But certainly there's a big impact on this. So be mindful about this, guys, especially those who are watching right now. Take note of this very important tips that Christie is sharing, because it really gives a very huge impact on your application when you're not taking your video call interview very seriously. So be mindful about it. You just have to remember that.
And we're very particular as well, with, getting to that point. We don't have we don't give you any guidance, right? Because you're coming in as a candidate to us. So it's up to you to make sure that, you have nice clothes on, you've done your hair, you've done your, makeup if you're wearing makeup, so that you look presentable, that you're really, really, as Tiny just said, you're really, really conscious of this being a first impression situation, and that you don't get another chance to make a first impression, right?
And that, I think, is always the situation for most candidates who are very new in this industry. And mostly the attendees that I have had, that I'm doing the training right now. And most of them, whenever I ask them, why do you think you were not even invited for a next round of an interview? They would say, maybe because during my first interview, or not even the first interview, I'm assessing them that they're not taking it seriously. So hearing it from someone who's doing this for so long a time, and from an agency like yours, I think now we are educating them that you have to take home-based work seriously. It's not just as we want to provide a work for you, but you have to show your sincerity that you really want this. Starting from presenting yourself, being able to speak clearly, express yourself clearly, your thoughts are properly are clearly, I mean, they can understand what you're trying to say. Your comprehension is very clear. So these are things. These are things you have
another
to take note.
And another red flag for me particularly is if we've organized and we've specifically said this is a video call. if you get to the point of that call and say, I'm sorry, my video is not working, that's a red flag for
Yes.
me. I want you to be upfront. I want you to show me your environment. I want you to be confident in meeting me and building that connection. If you put forward straight away at that point, it's not available without giving me prior warning. If you give me, a couple of hours warning, I'm really sorry, but my video is not working today.
Yeah.
I will reschedule that when your video is working, because
Yes.
that is very important. So don't make excuses. Don't, hide behind the text and not put yourself forward.
That's true. That is so certainly true. I'm just messaging all the ones who are watching right now. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to do so. Now, moving on, our third question is, what do you think of the candidates who do not follow instructions, and how do you think you can encourage them to improve their ways?
Look, I think that comes down to seriousness again, right? It comes down to, don't accept a job, or don't accept doing something if you're not prepared to actually do it. And the one thing that I'm really, really conscious of is that we have a lot of people in the industry that say they can do something, they say they can, but actually can't,
Yes.
or actually don't, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
be honest. The biggest thing, particularly from an Australian point of view, is we don't care if you tell us you can't do something, right? We'd much
Yes.
rather you tell us that you can't do something than pretend that you can, and then try
Exactly.
to fumble your way and not do it right, or just not do it at all. So, for me, people that don't listen to instructions, don't take care, don't take the time, shows me that they don't have the values that match ours, because our values are all based around client. Our client is number one. So if the client asks you to do something, our number one value is communication, actually.
Yes.
So, communication, if you're not actually communicating, A, that you don't know how to do it, B, that you'll be delayed in doing it, C, that you can't do it today for whatever reason. If you don't communicate that and you just go AWOL and you just sit behind the fact that you don't know how to do it, so you do nothing, that's
Yeah.
not going to work, And I think education-wise, teaching you all to think about that and say, it's okay to say, I don't know how to do that. Because
Yes.
through, that's going to help me learn. It's going to help my client understand that it's okay, So
Yes.
it's that honesty. It's, I'm okay for the first time for you to, stuff up a bit and say, and kind of work your way around it. If you continue to do that the second or third time, I don't give chances very well, right? We're pretty flexible. We try to find out what's going on, but our clients want what they want. Yeah.
Their expectations is that high, of course, from the
Yeah.
value you show them. And if
Yeah.
you are just like what Christy said, if you do not know something, yeah, better say it now. I don't know this, but give me a time. I will just discover how to do this. Maybe
Mm,
eventually I can learn. Just like in my experience, when I started as a VA, I really do not know how to use Google Suite or Google Sheets or whatever. But I
mm,
pushed myself to learn this because this is the essential or requirements per se by clients who are using this particular tool. So
mm.
you have to really find your ways as well, push
Yeah.
yourself to the limit. Learn things. That's why I mentioned a while ago, I learned a lot of things when I started
Mm.
working as a VA, because these are things that we don't discover in the office. These are things
Correct.
these are things that are not being taught in the office. So you as a VA, you must have the initiative to learn, what
Mm,
should I add into my bucket list,
mm,
what do I think that will bring, or it will add into my, it's just like marketing, you have to add some skills into yourself so you can be
mm.
marketable at all times.
I think so. And I think, look, that, and this is really, really good feedback for everybody out there, is that the number one thing that my clients for virtual elves from Australia ask for is an independent thinker, right?
Yes, certainly.
Now, that is not the natural trait of a virtual assistant that is, from that has been working in BPO offices, for example, or has been,
It's not
trained in
their
that
trade.
way.
Yeah.
It is not their trait, right? So what I say as a home-based worker, if you want to stand above everybody else that's just out there doing process-driven work and you haven't been ever asked to think outside the box on something or offer suggestions or whatever. The best thing you can do for yourself is to consistently be upskilling and learning and offering value to the client that they don't expect.
Yeah,
The
certainly.
biggest thing.
That's very important, because at the end of it all our clients, most of the clients doesn't even know something about this, but if they will hear that you're even suggesting something to them that it will make their lives better in their businesses, they would certainly give or listen to you, because they see that you're really into their business. You're showing that you're
Yeah.
passionate about, and sharing what you think will make or help their business grow.
Yeah.
So, initiative is also important for us
Yeah.
being VAs. So
Yeah.
that's very well said, and I hope all of you guys are taking note of this. Okay.
Mm.
Number four, from your experience, Christy, what are the common problems you encounter with applicants or candidates?
Yeah, so I think that, one of the main things is, we've kind of talked about that already, is just over, I think it's just sort of overstating what they can't deliver. So
Yes.
it's that, that CV that has shown all their fabulous experience, that they can do every program and every whatever, but when it comes down to it, when they're asked to actually physically go in and do the job, they can't do it. So that's the first thing. The second biggest thing, I feel, is commitment, right? Commitment to do what they say they're going to do. So, for example, if we bring on a client that says, I need someone to be there from 9 a.m. to 12, for those 3 hours, I need them to be answering a phone for me or to be constantly available during that time. The expectation is that that's exactly what the VA will do, not that they will check in, check out, log in, log out, and not be available when the client states they want to be. So the
Yeah.
biggest thing that I tell my clients, and this is something that's a bit of a client education piece as well, is set boundaries. Make sure that you're very, very clear on when you want the VA to be there, because then the VA has a better chance of sticking to that, right? If you tell the VA, I don't care when you do the work, just get it done in the day, I feel that's not a good way to run as a virtual assistant, to run your business, because you're not going to prioritize that work because you can do it whenever you want during the day.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
again, it's prioritization and commitment are very important factors for you to become a VA. And not only
Mm,
that, Virtual Elves has been here for 10 years. So the
mm.
kinds of clientele that we have
Oh,
are
yeah.
are really someone who trusts us. Like
Correct.
like myself, I've been with the client for a long period of time as well. I don't
Mm,
job hunt or job hop with a
yeah.
certain client to another. I stick to one client if ever they like my services or
Mm,
the work ethics, I would say. They would
mm,
always stick to you. So you have to prioritize and give value to that, because it's really hard to find a client, especially if you're doing it on your own. That's
mm.
why in this community, I really promote or advocate working with an agency, because it
Yeah,
it provides security for you as well.
it
So
does.
thank you again
Yeah.
for that.
No,
Okay.
that's fine. But the other thing is, as well, is you need, as a virtual assistant, you need to be invested in your client, right? So,
Yeah.
the client is investing in you. You need to be invested in your client. And what I mean by that is, you need to actually show that you're interested. You need to show that you want to improve whatever it is they've given you to do. You need to take that initiative. But more often than not, the biggest thing is, you just need to show them you care about them enough that you're making them feel like they're number one to you. Even if you have 4 clients, it doesn't matter. Make them at that time feel like they are your number one priority.
Yeah.
It's very much, I tell this to my clients. The biggest thing I say to my clients is, you have to make your VA feel like they are prioritized. So this is two-way. It's the same
Yes.
way. Yeah.
Yes, certainly. But before we go to the next question, I just want to say hi to Ses Ocampo. She said hi to us.
Hi,
She said
sis.
thank you for watching, Ses. And We have Erica Joyce as well. These people, some
Hi.
of them has attended the training. Baby Layla
Great.
Gaspi, Narishal Ann. They're watching Marie Mascarina and Miss Angeline. Angelica Agostina Balbin. I just watched her video when she was young, and she's a good singer. Come on, I love her voice.
Ah,
Yeah, I said
fantastic.
yes. She really has a wonderful voice, and she used to be a singer when she was younger. So
Yeah.
I think she still has it until now.
Ah, there you
Mo-
go.
Moving forward, then, our next question for you, Christy, is: are there any particular tools or skills that you've mentioned this a while
Mm.
ago, that you require from all of the candidates who apply to your agency? Just to,
Mm.
recapping again.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's the communication skills, it's the desire to constantly embrace your own development. They're the kind of non-tangible skills. The
Yeah.
other things, the basic things that I feel are important are you really should know an email system, so you should understand how to use Gmail or Outlook, or the basics around that basics training around how to manage somebody's email, I think is really important. The other thing is improve on your customer service, because your client is your customer, right? So, improve on how you service that client, how you always exceed their expectations, not just meet their expectations. If they're asking you to do something, do it plus something, right? Always add something on top of what they've
Yeah.
asked you to do, so that they go, wow, okay, fantastic. Get personal, right? It's okay to get personal. Get personal with your client. Build a relationship with them. Make yourself indispensable. I always say this. If you can make yourself indispensable, then you've got that job for the long term, right? If you do make a
Yes.
mistake, or if you do something, they're more likely to keep you on for that mistake if you've built that relationship with them and they feel like that they can't do without you, right? So
Yes,
that's kind
certainly.
of those. Other tools, no MailChimp, no Active Campaign, no an automation program of some sort, so that you have those, because that's all necessary. Know how to use social media. I mean, that's the biggest thing that we get asked to do for our clients, is social media, because
Social
it's
media.
time consuming, right? People don't understand,
Yes.
they don't have the time to do it. So know how to do it, know how to create an image, go and teach yourself. I think the biggest thing that I want in our home-based VAs is for them to be resourceful. It all
That's
comes
a
down
great
to
word.
that. Be resourceful.
That is such a great word,
Mm,
resourcefulness. Yes, it comes along with the initiative plus your
yeah,
resourcefulness, and
yeah.
you will be a good VA in long time.
Mm,
It takes time really to learn those things, but at least if you're trying to do it the right way and starting it
mm.
earlier on in your career, I think you will ace this. There's no booklet that would tell you this is what you should do.
There's
It's
Dr.
just
Google.
exactly. And the YouTube University, those are our
Yes,
friends. So
it's so
that's
true.
that's how we do
Mm,
it here. But then at the end of the day, if you need guidance, then we are here to help you. That's why we've created a community, in order for us to really guide you properly,
mm.
because we don't promote the six-figure thing. We don't want them to
Oh,
think of the
no,
numbers.
no.
It's more of be ready as a VA, and you will earn the right amount in time, but don't just
Yeah,
start thinking about I want to earn this much right now. You're starting
yeah,
a new journey, a new career for you, so you have to start from scratch, and you start from the very very bottom, and then elevate yourself, scale up, so eventually you will reap your reward. Okay,
yeah.
so the next one is um what do you think candidates must have in order to become successful in applying through agencies similar to yours?
Yeah, I think we've covered some of that as well. So I think it's I'm looking for candidates that are confident in themselves, right?
Yeah.
So I want a candidate to be confident enough that they're willing to be on video, speak to clients directly in an interview. They are constantly following up and interested. So if we don't have a job for them right then and there, that they are still constantly following up and keeping in touch and interested, if they're still looking for work, obviously, that they're looking to build relationships. Yeah. So
Yes.
I'm not looking, like we said, I'm not looking for the job hoppers. I'm looking for someone to build relationships. I mean, we're really lucky, I think, with our business because we're small. We're
Yeah.
not volume based. We're actually, really, really quality based
Relation
and
based. Yeah.
correct. And I think that, we've got VAs that have been sitting waiting for us for months, right? And
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
just sit there and they check in every month and they say, just wondering, they haven't gone out to look for anything else big because they know they want to be a home-based virtual assistant, and they just sit and they wait, and then all of a sudden we have a job opening that suits them perfectly. I mean, we keep sending them things that might work, but
Yeah.
they finally find something, and then they, lo and behold, they're working with us happy as anything, but they've built that relationship with us from the very beginning. And that's what's made it successful for them, because when they do come on board, we already know who they are. We're already happy with
Exactly.
the relationship and they feel comfortable enough. So I think what makes it successful for somebody working with an agency is the relationship that they're wanting to build, and the fact that they're looking for long-term stable work, that they're not just looking for the next dollar.
Yes, exactly. Again, just a sort of additional for that. It's not always the money. It's not always the amount that you're going to receive. You will certainly receive that or earn that when you're in the right when you're ripe already. I would say so.
Yeah.
But then again, but then
Yeah.
again, you have to create that relationship. That is so true, because without that relationship, without anything at all, if even if you don't even know the background of the agency you're going to apply for, that's
Mm,
already a red flag for you as well. So learn and understand who are these agencies. That's why we're trying to do that here. We're
mm,
introducing them to you so you know before you start applying to them. Oh, virtual elves, they're into more a relationship thing with their VAs because they like their VAs. You have a
yeah,
certainty of who agency you want to work with. So this is a
that's it.
very great platform for you guys to understand and to learn who the agencies that we
Mm.
want to for you to work with. And I hope this is really helpful for you guys. Thank you for that, Christy. And now the next question is, do you see a growth in this industry 3 to 5 years from now?
Oh, absolutely. I see it now, because I've been in business for 10 years, I can really see the difference just in the last 10 years. Oh, party time. We never did have that party.
Yeah, we don't. We never did.
No,
We were
anyway,
supposed to have one,
we
but it was
were.
postponed.
I
But anyway,
know. That's okay. Once this coronavirus is gone, I'm coming over to
I
the
know.
Philippines. And so I'm waiting. Yeah, exactly.
Round two of
Round
Christy.
two. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, look, I think definitely there's massive growth to happen. And I think the growth is not with the BPO offices, the growth is with the home-based working, because
Yes.
that space is opening up big time. People, Philippine, I think in the Philippines, everyone's starting, you're providing a fabulous platform, right, for people to be
Yeah.
educated on what it means to start looking at this as a career. And I think it's becoming more recognized as a career. It's becoming, when I think about Cherry, for example, who's been with me for 9 years, and I think about the growth of her when she first started with me as my VA, all those years ago, I was only giving her 10 hours a week because I could only
Mm.
afford to pay her that, when I was first starting out. And then very slowly it started to grow. And now she's managing, 25 virtual assistants, and
Including me.
including you. You know what I mean? Like I just look at that, and it's totally a career. It's totally
Yeah.
something that she can do, and she still has a very flexible lifestyle around working and managing that. She doesn't work full time. You
Yes, I
know,
know.
she
I
still
know
does all
that.
of her other things, right? And so
Yes.
I think that's the flexibility that you can expect. You can make it whatever you want it to be. So of course, I think this industry is going to grow.
And when you said that there's a flexibility about that, I can still do this thing. I never thought I
Yeah.
would be able to do this, but I'm very grateful and thankful for the
Mm.
opportunity because it allowed me to handle and manage this community with about 70,000 members. And, thinking about that on a day to day basis, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
how am I managing this? And I'm very grateful, Christy, there behind this, there are
Mm.
volunteers who help me also.
Yeah.
They're the ones who attended the training, so they're somehow helping me out in managing the community. And
Amazing.
yes, Exactly. And yes, this is the work life balance we all are dreaming for. I
Yeah,
mean, for me as a mom, as a parent, you would want to see your kids come from school at home. Like you were mentioning yesterday, you will have to pick up your son
that's
from
it.
school.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
So,
if I
what
expect that as a client, why can't I expect that, why can't I assume that my VAs wouldn't expect the same?
Exactly. So it's really
Mm,
something, it's a reward already as what
yeah,
you're doing right now. So think of it as a reward already, then plus the earnings. Not
yeah,
earnings first and then looking for the rewards. You have to think the other way around here because
yeah,
again, the reason why you want to leave your office-based work is because your time is already consumed for the whole day, right? So
yeah.
right now, if you're thinking you want to become or to start a career from home, think the other way. My reward is I'll be with my family,
Mm,
there will be time for me to take care of them, to prepare for their meals, whatever. And then at the end of the day, I still earn something. I have something
that's
for my
it.
pocket. So it's really
Yeah,
the perks that we enjoy here. I
yeah,
myself, I've never asked Christy, hey Christy, give me more clients because she knows our capabilities. She
yeah,
understands, oh, Tiny cannot do this. Oh, Tiny can do this
yeah.
because she certainly know who we are. And I think that's
Mm,
the best thing why I love and I am staying with virtual elves and Christy knows that.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm all here as always.
we value you because you epitomize the values that we look for in our VAs,
Thank
right?
you. Thank
No, but,
you.
but I think this needs to be said because everybody out there, they need to understand that, you starting to run this new platform, right? You are so qualified to do this because you are always put the client first. You are always, your number one value is service, right? Your number one value is always servicing the client and making sure that you communicate. Your communication is out of this world. Like, seriously, I wonder sometimes, like, seriously, if
You're
anybody
making
has
me
to
cry,
learn,
Christy.
no, if anybody has to learn communication, then they need to learn it from you because really, the way that you put yourself in front of your clients is second to none. You just really, it's so important. And I think if anyone, if just one person learns that from you, then the world will be a better place. I think it's very important.
Thank you. You made me cry. My goodness. Thank you so much, Christy,
Yay!
for that. I never expected that.
Good.
Thank you. Watches me of what I'm doing right now. Of course, I know that they believe in what I do, but at least coming from your end,
No,
working
I
from
do.
yeah, working. I've been with Christy from 2014, so
Yeah.
yeah, that's not a part of the script, anyways, guys.
No,
It's
it's
not
not.
scripted.
Not at all.
Anyways,
From
anyways,
my
we have.
heart.
Thank you. The last question that I will be asking you, because some of those are we've already topped it. The last one is, what advice, or although you've already mentioned something, can you give to aspiring and experienced VAs who want to last and become successful in this career?
Look, I think it's the same as anybody who has a dream to do something, right? First have the dream and believe in that you can actually achieve that dream. And I think that's really important. If you think that this is something that is going to be your dream career, then you put that at the top and then you start to work your way down to make that happen, right? So dreams don't just appear. Okay, dreams need to be worked towards. So my
Yes.
advice would be, what if your dream is to become that amazing, you've got all the hours that you want, from a client as a home-based VA, and you're just killing it for years and years, then you need to do all the little things that are going to get you to that place where you can attract those clients. So if you're starting out, the number one thing I would suggest is get a good CV in order, right?
Yeah.
Get your CV so that it makes you look like you've got some great experience. I mean, I am blown away every time that I get CVs of our VAs, and all of you have got degrees of some sort, right, from
Yeah.
university, which is
Yeah.
incredible. I mean, in Australia, that doesn't happen. Not everybody. I don't have a degree. I never went to university and finished a degree. Yet I'm running a multinational business, and you don't need the degree, but put down the things that really make you a unique person and would make somebody want to hire you. the skills are not the most important thing. If you have for the last 10 years been, volunteering at a local refuge and doing whatever, it is you've been doing, put that in there, because that shows me what your character is.
Yes.
If you have raised 2 children and you haven't worked for 10 years, but you've raised 2 children, you've supported your husband, you've whatever, put that in there, because that shows me what kind of a person you are, that you're willing to sacrifice to spend time with your children. That shows me dedication towards something, right? And commitment towards something. So don't feel afraid that you don't have this glowing CV full of skills and jobs and whatnot. That's not what's important to someone like us. We see beyond that. What I want to see is that you're willing to actually learn something. So I want to see that, before you apply for a job or before you put yourself forward, you've gone and you've done a course, on an online course, with Tiny, that you've learned how to be a VA, you've learned how to do all those things, or you've gone and you've learned how to use Active Campaign, you've self-taught yourself how to do some things, so that you can put that in there, right? So that is what I want to see, not that, you've worked at such and such a job for however long. Yeah.
I think it's the authenticity of what you're writing also in your resume or CV
Be honest.
that impacts us. When I was doing the reviewing of the CVs as well before, when I was handling the position, I also see to feel like, this person is lying. I would also sense that. So don't do that. You don't have to put a lot of flavor in your resume. Just be honest, be authentic, and follow through what the tips of the agencies that we are interviewing here. Follow through that and listen to them, because they know very well what they're looking for. And that's the reason why we're doing this. We're showcasing them to you so that you will have an idea that there's a real world where it's existing. The work from home or the home-based thing is really in existing, because others think that when you say you're working from home, you're just in front of the computer and doing Facebook. It's not that. Okay,
No.
we have actual clients. We work with them. We earn because we work per the hour or whatsoever. It really doesn't. It's not just about the money. Okay,
No,
it's about the
it's not.
happiness, the satisfaction. I said most of the time I don't consider being successful because I'm earning this much. I don't
No.
even say that. When you don't measure your success because of the amount of money you bring home, it's not
Mm,
that. The happiness that you can do these things within your I mean, you can manage your own time. That's very
mm,
important. It's already a reward that we all are enjoying. Just like Cherry. Cherry's our HR manager.
mm.
She's not working full time, but she manages 25 people.
Yeah.
And that's all the VAs that we have. And just to think about that, really, it's a perk that we
Mm,
all enjoy, and we
mm,
want you to experience this. But it's still up to you how you can be able to do this. If you're going to listen to us, you're going to follow through what we're advising you to do. We're not
mm,
perfect. I'm not a perfect VA, but then again, what we're sharing here is something that we have learned over time, over the years that we're doing this.
mm.
When we do mistakes, we improve that, we rectify it,
Yeah.
because we're human. We are also bound to make mistakes. But then again, don't just feel bad that I made these mistakes, I don't want to continue anymore. No, stand up
Take
and
ownership. Take
exactly.
ownership. That's my
Yes.
biggest thing. If you take ownership of the fact that you've made a mistake, and Tiny, you are
Yeah.
fabulous at that. A lot of our VAs are not. They try to make excuses, or they try to say that it wasn't their fault or it's the client's fault or whatever. No, take ownership and say, do you know what? I actually did stuff up on that one, and I'm really
Yeah.
sorry. I promise I won't do it again. I've learned from it, but make sure you learn from it. Don't stuff up on the
Yes.
same thing again. So it's
Exactly.
that constant. I'll tell you the one something that stands out for me that I want to share from someone that came through. So I got a personal email. So it wasn't through my website. It wasn't through Facebook, whatever. I got a personal email because my email address is on the website. So this person had actually looked at the website, read everything, and basically sent me an email and said, "Hi, Christie. I love your business. I love what you stand for. Some of your clients look amazing. Here is what I do. I'm good at telemarketing. I'm good at da-da-da. I've been working with such and such for so long. I am looking for another really great client to fill the 4 hours a day that I have remaining. here is my CV. Is it possible to talk to you? Now, not only did he not just send that email, he then followed up with a phone call directly to me from an Australian number that he had set up, which was incredible. And he basically said, Christie, hi. And he spoke beautifully. He was after a sales role. Now, instantly I went, oh my God, he talks beautifully. He knows how to sell because he's selling himself, right?
Yes, exactly.
Doing that. So instantly I went, I like you a lot, and I sent him straight through to Tina to say, can you interview him, find out more details? Now, it turns out that he wanted a really premium rate, okay? So really premium rate. I couldn't give him that rate because it just wouldn't be feasible to me. But you know what? The minute I think that I can fit him into something, I will call on him straight away because he made an impression on me.
Yes.
So he was different, right? He did something different. He approached us differently. That's what, an agency like us, that's what we're looking for, because it shows me you take initiative, you think outside the box, you're not following the mold, you've got the skills because you're applying in a different way.
Certainly. That's very well noted. I'm sure a lot of the people here or the members here in the community, they think or they thought that becoming a home-based worker or a work from home individual is that easy. You have to really stand up and scale up, and you have to stand up from the crowd. There are a lot of us here, and we are creating qualified VAs because of the fact that we know for somehow 3 to 5 years this will really bloom and blossom, that the industry will really grow. And if you have that kind of an attitude, just like what Christy said, do you think you will not be, who will not hire you? It's just that. Exactly. So that,
and I'm not looking for the general VA. I'm looking for the VA that's got something exceptional that I can say to a client, hey,
it's a
look at this.
attitude. That's a go-getter attitude, and that's something. Wow! Even if I myself, I would experience it, I would say, "This is great. This is awesome." He did something out of the box, out of the usual. So you have to be creative in some ways. Approaching how you just have to learn how to approach the right way. Don't be just boastful and arrogant. I think the way that the guy approached you is really awesome. I would even say, yes, Christy, let's hire him if we can. Why not? But then again,
completely.
Exactly. So these are the things that will probably just put us in a hold position. But then again, if someone somewhere, a client would look for someone like him, definitely he'll be the one, the first candidate. Oh, I have someone in mind. So be like that. Be assertive in the proper way, in the right way, in a positive way. You be a go-getter. So that's exactly what most of the agencies are looking for now. Don't be too shy to say that you don't know this, but then again, upscale yourself. Even if I do not know this, I'm already starting to learn this. I've taken this course, blah blah blah. There's a lot of ways you can learn this, guys. Again, there's no booklet, but then again, there are people here, us, who would love to guide you and show you how you can really become VA ready. All right.
That's it. It's perfect.
I really enjoyed this interview, Christy. Thank you so much.
Me
for
too. I always love connecting with you. It's always fabulous. And for everybody out there, you're so lucky to have Tiny guiding you on this, journey in starting to become a VA. I just think we as agencies, and I'm sure the other agencies that are involved, we all have everyone's best interests at heart. We want to see you succeed. We want to see, because we want that larger pool of VAs to be able to pull from, right? We want you. We need that. And so if we can just I truly believe that it's the attitude, not the skills, that need to be developed more so. So if you can focus you can focus on your attitude and focus on your, relationship building and all of that sort of stuff, it will get you much further than the skills will.
Exactly. Very well said. Thank you so much for that, Christian. Thank you so
My
much for the
pleasure.
wonderful words that you're sharing. I feel so I feel so little, or but I'm humbled with the words that
Good.
you're sharing. Thank you
You
so
should be.
much. Yeah.
It's my
And
pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thanks everybody,
my
and
pleasure
I'm
as
really
well.
looking forward for you to, those that are going to the conference, for you all to meet Tina and Cherry, who will be coming from our agency.
Yeah.
I think I would have loved to have obviously been there, but they are such a good support from our HR team that, I'm really confident that you're going to love meeting them, and you're going to be able to ask them all the questions that you want. We are a family. Tiny, you can attest to that. We keep small because we want to keep
101%.
that. Yeah.
That's why I'm still here. That's why
Yeah.
I've been telling them, I that's the reason why I wrote the story of my beginnings, from my humble
Yeah.
beginnings as a VA,
Thank
because
you.
I always want to look back, and thanking you is not enough. Giving me the opportunity to really grow in this industry is really something for me. It's really meaningful for me. So thank you so much,
Oh,
Christy, for that
it's my
for
pleasure.
that wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
my pleasure.
that's it for us today, guys. Thank you so much, and we look forward to meeting you all. For those who signed up to attend the expo on March 21, I'll repeat, it's March 21, 2020, from 9 a.m. to 6 p. or 7 p.m. rather, because we have 6 or 7 agencies who will be there, including Virtual Elves Outsourcing. So please be there. Make sure you check your emails. I've already sent out a new email regarding that announcement. Once again, thank you so much, Christy, for the wonderful
Thank you.
interview that we've had today. And God bless and good luck to all of us. Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.
Thank you. You can stay, Christy.